Hey, what's going on? What is going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Late Night Show with Dr. Kojo. Alexa, volume 4. Let's get it. Let's get started. Let's get started. We have a very exciting show tonight. I'm gonna let you all file in, and I'm gonna tell y'all what I want to talk about. I can tell her how I'm feeling. Ayla, what's up? Shout out to Ayla. She's a day one from TikTok. Oh wow, somebody here I cannot see their name, but I like this comment. I really like this comment. Chelsea, I like this. Ooh, okay. All right, Alexa, pause. A lot of great comments are coming in, and I want to just talk about what the plan for tonight's show is. Okay, so the comments that I pull on the screen, right? This is a live show. This is going to be broadcasted on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, LinkedIn, right? So people can see your name, people can see your comment. But what I'm doing right now is I'm getting the feedback from people, and I'm working on the project. So I'm looking to take people's comments and put it into my project. So keep in mind that if you comment tonight, there's a good chance, or there's a chance, I don't know about a good chance, but there's a chance that I might take your comment and throw it into my project. I'm working on a project that means a lot to me. And this project is for you all. It's for my community. And I'm very excited to see where we take this thing. I can't wait to actually put it out. But you all mean a lot to me. And obviously, I mean, something that I'm doing is working. But I really, really want to get into it and really figure out what does this community mean to you. But before that, you know how we start the show. I need you all to let me know where you all are from. Northern Minnesota in the house, just seeing what's going on. I'm checking in from Los Angeles, California. We have somebody from Tucson, Arizona, another person from Arizona. Everybody's from Arizona tonight, right? I'm in Los Angeles, California, like I said. Somebody from Minnesota. Okay, people checking in from all over. Tennessee, Kentucky in the house, Missouri. Okay, awesome. All right, let's get into it. Lauren, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. I'm compiling all of these comments, and I'm working on a project. Virginia, San Fran. Wow, Alicia. Wow, I really appreciate that. And sorry to hear about your loss. Miscarriage is very difficult. And I know for some people it can be traumatic, right? So I'm sorry that you went through that, and I'm happy that the little videos have been able to help you out. You make learn fun. Lauren, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Kristen. Wow, a lot of love. And I'm gonna be putting these comments on the screen, and I'm gonna talk about what I'm trying to do here. Okay, and of course, after I talk and go on a rant, I'm just gonna have because today's topic is about my community, which is you all, and what I'm trying to do. There's no specific topic. So at the end, this is gonna be a free for all. I'm just gonna answer questions, and I'll bring a question on the screen and I'll answer it. But for now, I want to here with this project. Yeah, I want to talk about this project that I'm doing. So we all know, well, y'all might not know, but what was it over a year ago? Yeah, about 14 months ago, 15 months ago, I made a decision to leave my job back in Virginia. I was working at a state hospital, the oldest state hospital in the United States. I love my job, right? I was on the forensic psych unit. I love my patients. I love my job. But I felt that I had a need to also educate, to also entertain and educate. So I took a chance, got a one-way ticket to Los Angeles, California, came out here with my puppy, and things have been great. It's been life-changing to be able to do this for you all, and I'm so grateful that I get to do this for y'all. And as I'm into social media and posting and promoting mental health awareness and doing it in a way that people can understand, right? I'm learning a lot about myself, and I'm learning a lot about my community. And there's a small project that I'm working on. I pitched it, to a company, wasn't picked up to my knowledge or whatever. But I felt very passionate about the project. My team and I, we spent countless amounts of hours working on it. We poured money into it, and then I had it there, and I was looking, and through my emails, and I was like, shit, I want to put this out. Like, this means something to me, and I know it means something to somebody. So the guy who was supposed to shoot it happened to be in LA this past weekend. So I FaceTimed him. I say, hey, come on over to the house. Came to the house. I put my project up on the big screen. I used my phone and I blasted it to the TV. I said, this is what I want to do. This is my vision. I want to, like a little short film or whatever project, but I want to make something for my community, for you all, and I want to put it out here. But I need you all's help, and one of the things that I need from you all is to know you know, uh, what benefit you all get from the videos, how it helps you all out. Because I do this for you all, and I love the live interaction. That's why I'm loving this StreamYard thing, because I can say something and I get the feedback from you all in real time. I think that's super dope. I love, love, love that. And something powerful is going on in the mental health space. I can't quite put a finger on it, right? But you look at it and you're like, Mickey Ficky, something's going on, right? Like, people are starting to learn about these things, right? I talk a lot about ADHD on here. People are starting to realize, oh damn, like maybe I had undiagnosed ADHD that affected my last relationship, or oh, I didn't know I was living with high functioning depression, and I saw this 1 7-second clip, and I got help. I went to a therapist or a doctor or whatever, and now I'm doing so much better, right? People are starting to be aware of these things, right? And it's changing their lives. And I, somebody saying you bring a humanistic and kind of approach I've never seen before. I mean, I'm not no superhuman, but I do think that there's a fair amount of luck that goes into play when you do something incredible, right? Like 2.5 million followers online. I mean, I think I'm talented. I think I'm a handsome looking dude, but there's somebody who's talented, taller, more handsome, smarter than me, right? But there's something that happened with me getting on, social media, late 2019, at the time that I got on, and posting about what I was posting about and what I was passionate about, and things catching fire at a certain time. And yeah, I put the work in, but there is a fair amount of luck that went into this. But things kind of came together, and it created this awesome, like, family, And I appreciate you all so much, and I feel so grateful to be able to be a part of this community. It means a lot to me, and just stepping out of the role of a clinician, just as somebody who has ADHD myself. Like, when I was in high school, I would have loved to have joined a live show like this and maybe learn about ADHD or about these topics, and it'd be fun, right? So I would have loved this being 18, 19. So I'm so grateful that I get to be a part of this. And it's so exciting, and I can't wait to put this project out for you all. I really cannot wait to do that. And I promise you, I'm going to bust my ass to make sure that it's the best possible project out there. And I'm looking through some of these comments. Be proud of yourself. You're making a real positive difference in so many people. I appreciate you. Katrina, I appreciate you as well. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Katie, you're so positive, and your videos help bring awareness and understanding to what so many of us are going through, which isn't easy to go through on its own. But your videos kind of allow people to realize it's more common than most people think, which makes it just a tiny bit easier day by day. Right. So that's the goal, right? To make each day a little bit easier, right? Like, we want to make each day like a little bit easier, Like, life is going to be hard, right? And life is going to be easy sometimes, right? It's never like easy all the time, hard all the time. But sometimes it's just hard to get from a Monday to a Tuesday and then back around to Monday again. So whatever I can do to help make that a little bit easier for you, I'm happy to do. Putting a face on the proper mental health. I appreciate that, Lauren. Lauren is dropping. Lauren is Lauren's the new bestie. I guess that's how y'all call it, bestie or BFF. She's dropping all this, love on me. I appreciate that, Lauren. Thank you so much. And yeah, another one, breaking down the signs of ADHD in women. That's something I talk about at length online, right? The fact that, for ADHD, right? Whether you're a lady, man, however you identify, the treatment, has been proven to be equally effective for, everybody. But a certain population, certain demographic, and women in this case do not get the chance to be screened for ADHD. And sometimes they have to go through like, decades of being misunderstood before somehow, some way they get checked up. Maybe they watched a TikTok of mine where I was doing like a little dance or something like that, and then they got help. And then that's crazy, right? The fact that you can do a little dance, right, or like my actual dance, doing that, and then putting the little words over it. It's just it's fascinating to me. I really appreciate that, Latasha. I really appreciate you. It's very, very, it means a lot to me. Uh, and Ali, I appreciate you too. Thank you so much. Women's health, physical and mental. Yeah, and this, I come from West Africa, Ghana, right? So we never talk about these things growing up, and my grandma would tell me stories about. I think one story that I think her brother, had was working as a policeman, and he saw something traumatic. I don't want to mention it, on live. Kids watch me, but either way, his brother saw something traumatic, like in front that happened in front of him, and he didn't know how to deal with it. So this is back in like the 50s, right, in West Africa. So he did what everybody at the time did. You turn to drinking, and then he became an alcoholic. And I'm not saying that that's how everybody becomes alcoholic, right? But if he had if we had mental health resources in the 50s in West Africa, maybe he would have gone to see a therapist, and you know talk some of his issues through. But they didn't have that back in the day. So now that we have this information, we can do a little bit better. You know, uh, thank you so much, Bethany Young. I appreciate that. I've been trying to learn your dance. It helps me. Linda, I appreciate that. You go like this. You go like one, and you go back, and then one more like this. Then you go like this, and then if you're like not stationary like me, and you're standing up, you can hit the gritty, right? Which is the dance that the NFL players use. The guys who come from LSU into the league. You hit the gritty, and then while you're hitting the gritty, you put the little Frankenstein inside there. And that's how you get my dance. That's how you get my dance. And someone says, "I do your little dance when." I appreciate it. It's wild because I just thought that's not in mine, right? It incorporates part of the gritty, part of the Frankenstein. I saw the kids doing this on TikTok, and I just started like doing little things in my kitchen, I'm like, and then it turned into that, So I can't even take full credit for the dance, but I do appreciate that, the little dance. Shayla and Rashad, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And if y'all asking questions, I will get the questions in just a few towards the end of the stream. I will get the questions, so don't worry about that. Tonight's like a free for all, right? This big project that I'm working on. I don't want to call it a big project. This project, I don't want to make it too big, but it means a lot to me, and I'm excited for you all to see it whenever it's done. But this project is well, I'll give you all a little bit of background on the project, right? It obviously we'll talk about me because like it's me, right? It's my project, but it's gonna be focused on the community, right? And sometimes I sit there at night and I know my team says like don't spend all your time reading through your DMs because like my DMs never end. Like they won't end. It's just messages, right? It's not too healthy to be just scrolling through. Sometimes I'm curious. I want to know why are you following me and why did you decide to click that follow button, and more importantly, why are you still following me, right? Because you can choose to unfollow at any time, but what is it that is happening that is bringing you value over and over again, and how do I use that and take that and then put it into the next type of content that I put out so I can reach more people. You have to be crafty. You have to speak the language that the kids speak nowadays. You can't use the same old brochures and pamphlets, right? You can't say, "Oh, I'm thinking about you. I'm praying about you." I hope you're doing all right. Here's a pamphlet on depression or something. Like you have to speak the language of the kids nowadays, and that's where I'm do my best to do. My 6 year old loves to dance too. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Jamie. I really appreciate that. And also, I'm always figuring out new ways to make the content better. Like I am putting out this, you know, project, but I'm always thinking of how can we make this thing a little bit better. You know, because not everything that I put out is golden, but a lot of it I think is pretty good. Um, and I like what Amber's saying here to make most of us feel like we aren't alone and crazy. Right. So sometimes, we talk a lot about, you know, toxic traits or narcissism or gaslighting. Sometimes I almost feel like you can gaslight yourself, right? You might tell yourself things like, oh, no, like you don't believe that you're going through what you're going through because you've been going through that thing for so long that you might be in denial. I'm not saying this is everybody, right? But if you're, Amber, I don't know where you're from, right? But I see you're like, out in the grass. I'm just gonna say you're from Nebraska. I'm just guessing, right? Let's say you're in Omaha, right? And you know you're in the pandemic. Like, if you're going through a certain thing and you're not connected to the world, you might think that, oh, I'm the only person who goes through this thing and nobody else is going through it. And then you're going to feel alone. And as we know, with loneliness is not a good feeling. Solitude is one thing, but loneliness, there's negative mental health consequences behind loneliness. And nobody wants to feel like they're the only one going through something. It's not like a misery loves company type of thing, but it's more so like, oh, there's other people I can talk to who have gone through what I'm going through, or they're currently going through it. So let's link up, and create this team to, let's get through the BS. Ooh, I'm gonna crack my neck a few times. Love how you validate my situations. Kristen, yeah, validation is important, and you don't have to agree. Like, Kristen, I might not agree with something you're doing or something you're saying, but I still think people need a space to be able to speak up and feel like somebody's listening to them. So it's not about agreeing. Sometimes I feel like in our so I mean I'm coming live from LA, right? So I feel like in our country sometimes people are like, oh, I believe this, I believe that. You can be a Democrat, Republican, Independent, or whatever the next thing is, but it's about allowing people to feel validated. Let that person speak, and that's why I feel like I've said it a couple of times before on TikTok, but I feel like I have the most positive community online, and I tell people all the time, if you're not familiar with this community, I say it all the time. I say, hey, over here we have, Republicans and Democrats kissing. Like, people are nice to each other. Like, when, if somebody is, with the negative, I'll block you so fast. We don't have any space, no time for that. Aubrey, I appreciate that. Aubrey, I like that comment. And for some reason, I feel like I gotta give you a love of the show. You made me feel that it's okay. I'm not crazy. I'm worthy and good as I am. I like that, Aubrey. I gotta give you the first love of the show. Thank you, Aubrey. I appreciate that. W, thank you so much. Thank you, my guy. I really appreciate it. Powerhouse, dude. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. Mimi, you present real life situations that are rough. You shine light on the topic and give us something to smile about simultaneously. Yeah, well, laughter is good for you, right? And if you can laugh, I figure that you can teach somebody something and then you can make them laugh at the same time. You can keep them around, right? You can keep them around. Like, a lot of times when I've made friends, right? Like, just looking back in my life, like whenever I've made friends, I was able to like kind of make them laugh or like just do something silly, and even like before, like I would date somebody, I'm like, okay, she's laughing at my jokes, like she's comfortable. Like, people just want to feel, like comfortable and have a good time, right? So if you're having a good time, but then you're learning something at the same time, and you don't realize that you're learning, that's better than being stuck in like, in seventh period, at school, and the teacher's teaching you about something and you're trying to stay awake, right? Um, you know. Someone says, "Can you do some rap songs?" Alexis, you must not have seen my song "Happiness Looks Good on You." I got a song that was viral on TikTok, and then we turned it into a music video, and we shot the video on Santa Monica Pier, and we premiered it in an article, joint collaboration with Cosmopolitan. It was I thought it was a big deal, but it was pretty cool video. But I got more songs. It's funny that you mentioned this, Alexa. I gotta give you love the show, because I was talking with my publicist before I got on here, and I want to get more into that. I want to collaborate with Gunna, Kodak Black, Drake, 42 Doug. Those are the first ones that come to mind. So gotta give you love the show. The music is a powerful way to connect with people. So yeah, I want to definitely get into that. I I want to collaborate with Billie Eilish. I don't know. She's out here in LA somewhere. Um, Adam says, not a lot of guys on here don't want to look weak. Let the pride and ego go. Thanks so much for the videos. Adam, yeah. And that's something that I struggle with on a daily basis. Like sometimes like my pride is like I have to check myself and I have to be like, all right, Kojo, like chill out, like like humble yourself. Like I'm humbling myself on a daily basis, right? Before the world has to humble me. I'd rather have that come to Jesus moment myself before some headline comes out. I don't want that. I don't want that. And I follow you because my husband's a behavioral patient. Our son follows closely in his footsteps, behavioral health issues, ADHD, help keep me grounded. Lois, I'm happy that I get to do that for you. I really appreciate it. And it's funny how this platform works, like specifically Facebook. I don't know how these videos come on you all's feed. I don't understand the algorithm. I don't, and I don't know if maybe people are Googling like ADHD self-help strategies, and then the next moment you hop on Facebook and then I pop up. I don't know how it works, but I'm thankful for it nevertheless. Let me see, Denise, I appreciate that. You're doing a fantastic job of highlighting big issues. Your clips on AD women have resonated with me so much. I decided to follow my healthcare team. Keep up the great work. I appreciate that, and that's the thing that once it kind of dawned on me that people are benefiting from it. I'm like, oh my goodness, like people are actually like going to their doctor after watching a TikTok, and it took me a while, but at first I was like, this is just a little silly video. It's like a silly dance, but it's not. It's not just a silly dance. Like it's a good dance, right? It's a good dance. Let me go through some of these comments. Kayla, thank you so much. I love your anxiety videos. Yeah, and I even post about anxiety like on my Facebook here as a status. I say all the time, action defeats anxiety. Let's get moving. Let's do certain things so we can move on. Of course, anxiety, it might require therapy and meds sometimes, but as we do things, we can shake that feeling. Amanda says, if a person engages with your videos, they will get more content from you and similar content. Oh, okay. Got it. Did not know that. Did not know that. Wow. Let me see. Susan, I appreciate that. You talked to you didn't finish that sentence. I'm in Bama too. Mental health isn't a big. So Shannon, I just don't think we talk about it enough, right? Or even like yesterday's stream was a good example, right? That we got on the topic of sex for some reason, and then somebody was like, "Why are we talking about sex? I thought this was a mental health like show or stream." And I'm like, "Yeah, this is a mental health based show, right? But we're gonna talk about all the topics. We're gonna talk about the Tinder swindler, this, that, blah, blah, blah. We make it fun, we make it exciting, but at the same time, like sex is a big part of mental health, right? And as I was explaining, sometimes in depression there's no sex drive. Sometimes in certain conditions there's a super high sex drive. So just explain things to people, but it's not their fault. They didn't know, they didn't know that, so they probably thought that they walked into a stream and I was just out here talking about sex this and sex that. So they were like, what type of time is he on? But then you just let them know, like, all right, these are things that, everything affects your mental health, your little dance makes my day better. MG, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. My assistant. Okay, all right, bet. That works out. Ben, my guy Ben was on the chat the other day. I appreciate you. I just want to say I'm very thankful for you, this community on Valentine's Day. Thank you for being here and listening. Ben, I appreciate you, my guy. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. And keep going. Don't let a single day, make you feel less than, right? It's just Valentine's Day is just February 14th. You know, that's all it is. Let me see. You're so open, and I love it. People are very aware of mental health, and it's so awesome. Time to change it. Melissa, yeah, you're right. And it's funny because I didn't used to be this open. I was kind of like I didn't talk a lot like as a kid. Um, I kind of kept like issues to myself because I was like embarrassed. Like if I went through something, I'm like, I don't want to make myself look bad. But then when you speak up, you realize that people are going through it too, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it's not that bad, right? Ashley, your videos are so relatable that I finally got the nerve to seek help. I was officially diagnosed ADHD last week. Hey, Ashley, I love this show. I appreciate you, Ashley, and I'm happy that see, this is the type of thing that it like when I started to get comments like this, I was like, all right, I really think that we're doing something here, because like for somebody to like open up their phone, right, log on Facebook, you probably were going to see, whose birthday it was or whatever. Or if you're on TikTok, maybe you're just like looking for cooking recipes, and you somehow stumbled on my video, and you're like, wait a minute, and then you kept watching more and more and more, and before you knew it, you put two and two together, and you're like, all right, I need to book an appointment with my doctor. Something ain't right, and then you do that, and the doctor confirms that maybe something wasn't right, but then that there's hope for you, and you get the treatment, and your life dramatically improves, all because you somehow saw like a 7-second video. That's it's powerful. That's powerful. I really appreciate that. Um, he looks young. Who are you talking about? Who looks young? If you see, Gabby, I got diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Thank you for your dance. It made me feel better. I have many depression episodes all at the same time. Gabby, keep going. I really appreciate you. And it's funny because I went out last year. I went out with my dog to this breakfast spot here in LA, and then one of the servers came up to me and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're from TikTok, right? I love you. I love your dance." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I posted TikTok." And she was just so kind to me, and like I remember getting like a free drink, and I asked her because I was curious. I was like, "Okay, thank you so much." Her name was Liza. Shout out to Liza. I forgot the name of the spot that I went to, but her name was Liza, right? And I asked her. I said, "So what's your favorite piece of content that I post on TikTok? What do you like the most?" And she was like, "You know what? Just even that dance that you do, like it helps out a lot." And I was like, "Oh, out of everything I post, out of the maybe 1,000 videos I have, 1,000 plus for sure, it was a dance." So sometimes it's just the simple things. People need to know that you care, before they want to hear from you. That's the first step. That's the prerequisite. We bring music culture to mental health, and Alexis, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Terrence, students and teachers have been super stressed and has been taking a toll on our mental health. Schools all across the country have been experiencing a higher percentage of students with mental health problems. Teachers are experiencing burnout, but we don't want to let our students down. Right. And when we don't talk about these issues, it makes it hard for people to get the help that they need, right? If people think that teachers are superhuman, then they'll say, "Oh, teachers are fine. Like, let's watch out for the kids." But teachers are getting burnt out too. Teachers need to have better mental health resources, better pay. The list goes on and on. So it's important to bring awareness to this. Your dance is Nikki Nicole. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and I love watching your videos. David, I appreciate you, my guy. Nobody really seems to understand what it's like to be an adult with ADHD and anxiety. David, I feel like people do understand, but it's the people who are struggling with it, right? But if you don't give people a voice, and you can't hear from other people who are struggling with the same thing, then you might feel like you're living in your own, like a special version of hell for just you, right? You have the ADHD, which can be hard, and you have the anxiety, which it might be coming from the ADHD, or maybe it was there beforehand. But either way, it can make life a challenge. So, that's who I represent. I do it for people, just like you and me. Leslie, this is a good ass question. Did you ever think your TikTok videos would blow up like this? Oh my gosh. I gotta give you the love of the show. This is a really good question. Did I think for somebody who believes in myself a lot, no. I don't no. To be honest, I did not think they would blow up like this. I started posting December 2019, and after about 2 months, I got to 30,000 followers, and I thought I was on top of the world. I was like, oh my goodness, I have 30,000 followers, and I got this invite to the first creator event on TikTok. It was a Black History Month event here in LA, but I was living in Virginia at the time, right? So, TikTok flew me out to LA. I got to meet Tyra Banks, Terry Crews, who else was there? Nick Cannon, all these great, social media personalities and influencers, and celebrities, right? And they're talking about, believing in yourself and all this stuff. And, they're telling me things that I tell you all, like cut out the negative self-talk, believe in yourself, believe that you can get to a certain point. So I knew that I could do okay, but I didn't think it'd blow up like this. I didn't think I'd be living in LA. I didn't I wake up every day, and sometimes I look outside, like I'll go to the rooftop and I'll just look outside and I'll look at the city and I'm like, what is life? This is crazy. Like, how am I, like it doesn't make sense to me, so I'm living in the moment. I'm doing my best to celebrate the wins. I'm not the best at celebrating wins, but I'm doing my best to celebrate the wins and just being grateful for everything. Judy, yes. How are you doing? Love from Pennsylvania. This is a really good. I thought this was a good skit. I'm always looking for relatable content to put out there, and I got the little, afro to play the role of the dad. It's just trying to be versatile. Your videos have helped me tremendously, Sandra. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And Ben, what Dr. Kojo said really validated why I felt the way I was on Valentine's Day. No one else was doing that. They kept pushing for me to love myself as if I didn't already do that. Yeah, Ben, I remember that talk we had on Valentine's Day, and I don't think people who say just love yourself more, I don't think that they don't want the best for you, but sometimes they don't understand that you can tell somebody, say, just love yourself more, right? But it doesn't work that way. Like if somebody is struggling to appreciate themselves, and you just can't see your own value, for whatever reason, whatever external factors, it's going to be hard for you to love yourself and to appreciate yourself. And you might have parts of yourself that you don't like, and nothing is wrong with that in the moment, right? Let's eventually work towards appreciate yourself a little bit better. But in that moment, you have to do a priority thing, which is you have to validate that they feel that way. Take them for where they are right now. Okay, I know that you feel like shit because you don't have a girlfriend or you don't have like a partner. However, whatever your preference is, you don't have like a person that you like on Valentine's Day, right? And then that's a bad feeling, right? Because you look on social media, everybody's posting a significant other, and you feel lonely. You want to be wanted, right? And as guys, sometimes we don't talk about that because guys have to be like strong and like macho and all this. But guys have feelings too, in the same way that women want to be wanted, guys want to be wanted. Like it's a human thing. So you have to validate people, and I'm happy that I'm able to do that. For you, that was through the line, Ben. But I think even you putting yourself out there was powerful, to a lot of other guys. So I'm happy I was able to connect with you. Megan, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I really appreciate you. Leslie. Ooh, I like this right here. If someone laughs at you for being worried about your mental health, find another doctor. Ask for recommendations on mental health providers who are going to take you seriously, Look for a place where they make you feel comfortable. It feels like a second home. It's okay to speak up for the help you deserve. I agree. I definitely agree. Ty Lee, I feel less alone and motivated to crush my goals, which I did today. Loving the show. I appreciate that. Nay Meeks. Nay, wow, I appreciate that. And nice smile, by the way. Thank you so much. Let me see. Get up here. I've considered getting my psych NP. Oh, hey, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. The psych nurse practitioner degree is one of the most underrated degrees out there. Same thing with like the psychiatric physician assistant. I don't know too much about the PA route, obviously, but I can say that the psych NP route is one of the most underrated careers out there. Again, to help people like in the middle of a mental health crisis. And of course, you're compensated well, right? But at least you get to make a real impact, and you get to see that. You get to really see it. Let me see. I really appreciate that you make positive noise about mental health and provide strategy snippets that are workable for the majority of your viewers. Mary, I appreciate that. It has a lot to do with like something that's actually like practical tips, right? Like a brochure is not doing anything for me. Like, hey, here's a brochure or no, like I need like a practical tip, like break it down in the most like simple way for me so I can understand it. Let me see. Brianna, thank you so much. Your videos make me feel like I'm not alone. To help me with self-reflection helps me remember that I take life a day at a time and to be happy while I work towards my dreams. Brianna, I like that a lot. And even reading these comments, what that does for me is it's affirmation that okay, I'm headed in the right direction, right? And you can't get too high in your own supply, right? I can't get. It's not a good practice. I wouldn't recommend somebody like me going through my DMs and saying, "Oh, I'm so awesome. People love." No, you don't want to do that because you don't want to get too high, off of the compliments because that can make you be super low on the insults, things like that. But there's a fair amount of appreciation for every single comment like this, and I really appreciate you. And let me see. I watch your videos. My grandson has ADHD. I went through a lot of what you say. He is now almost graduating college. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you for saying that. Sometimes people, through no fault of their own, but they feel like ADHD, might hold them back from graduating college, graduating high school, having a successful relationship. You can do all that stuff with ADHD, but it takes a little bit of work. So seeing that your grandson is graduating from college, that's an inspiration to not only me but everybody else who's watching, right? The 170 people on Facebook watching or wherever they're watching from. I think it's Facebook, but you make me smile. I mean, overwhelmed. Brianna, I appreciate that. And look, sometimes when you like, what I do is when I'm watching Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock, right? That makes me laugh. So like I figured out that laughing helps me get through stressful things. So if I'm, typing up a report or doing something that's mundane and it's hard for me to focus or I'm stressed, I just cut on some comedy or something that will make me laugh. And then I'm a little less worried about the thing that was bothering me at that point in time. Angela, thank you for representing the mental health community and giving us a facelift, normalcy. Ooh, I like the way you said that. We are real functioning people in this world. Thank you. Angela, I appreciate that. Mrs. Jones, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Erlyn, your videos give me hope, strength, and courage to face my issues. The day I saw your first video, I was in a dark place. You were doing your dance. It made me laugh. And watching it gave hope and made me realize I'm not as alone. It helped me knowing there's a supportive community out there that understands. Thanks for all that you do. Erlyn, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And people just need to know that, that there's a reason to like keep going, right? If all your best moments are in the past, you're not looking forward to anything in the future. So if my dance is able to do that, I'm going to keep dancing. I'm going to keep, I thought about, searching it up, but this dance is working, so I'm going to keep, doing my dance and we're going to keep shaking and grooving out here. So I really appreciate that. Let me see you, Chrissy. Thank you so much, Chrissy Love. I appreciate that. Nice smile, by the way. I like to see people happy, but I understand when people are not happy, right? And then we're gonna get you to the point where you're smiling a little bit more. Laughter is good for the soul. It is. It definitely is good for the soul. Um, thank you for your compliment. And I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I tell people that the moment that I got my teeth fixed, I had to wear Invisalign twice. The moment I got my teeth fixed, I started smiling for no reason. Like I'd be with the guys. We just be like talking about Michael Jordan versus LeBron James, right? And then as I'm having the conversation, debating, I just start smiling. Like, bro, stop smiling. But I couldn't stop smiling because I got my teeth fixed. Brittany Scott, you bring kindness and love, smiles and laughter with serious mental issues, and that's hard. Oh, wow, Brittany, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that, and uh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how this project is going to be chopped up, but the videographer. I mean, this guy is amazing. I love his work. And my assistant and everybody else is helpful, but we have a lot of comments, and it's gonna be interesting as you all watch it. Maybe you're watching, you'll see your comment in there. Um, you know, and I love your dance, Zena. That's a cool name. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Your mental health community is important for people to know. Yeah, Kanea. That's a dope name. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Um, uh, Kayla, I appreciate you. Kayla, thank you so much. Krista, that's a good question right here. Um, First thing that comes to mind is telling my patients to like take it one day at a time, right? Put one foot in front of the other and get from Wednesday to Thursday, Thursday to Friday, and then back around. Sometimes we try and bite off too much. I do that all the time. Um, Let me see. I was shamed a lot. Let me click that. I was shamed a lot as a teen by my own parents for being mentally ill, and was told by grandparents and great grandparents that it was all in my head and I needed to pray. Ooh, okay, okay. I'm not Christian at all. Okay, respect. Now all that shame is forcing its way out, and my mask is cracking because it's exhausting. Watching you and the app I'm currently using with my partner is helping so much. You help us every day. Thank you, Dan. I really appreciate that, and I'm sorry that you went through that. I mean, I'm a Christian, but I do think that the church needs to be held accountable. In many ways, like you can't just. I mean, you can, but it's not a good idea to tell people to just pray. Some things are going to require therapy. Some things are going to require medication, and I'm actually encouraged because I have a good friend of mine who's a pastor, and like the other day we talked. He was talking about we need to talk about mental health in the church. We need to we need to talk about it like yesterday, and he was saying that like maybe we need to have like mental health first aid for people in the church, so that way you're not just saying, "Oh, pray about it." Like it's an actual issue that's going to require actual attention. So I'm sorry that was your experience, but I'm so happy that my content is able to help you out. It makes me feel really good. Courtney Jones, your videos help with opening up more about mental health, and it's so needed and appreciated. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Judy, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And so Sierra has not been following. Sierra must be like a new uh, a new person, a newbie, or a new follower. How I got to mental health, and I guess this would be a good time. We've been going on for 45 minutes. This would be a good time to fire away with questions, right? This is like an appreciation live, so fire away with any question. If I can find a way to answer it and provide value to people, I'll answer it. How I got to mental health. I was working back in Macon, Georgia, at a level one trauma center. I was working as a neuro ICU registered nurse RN, right? And then my dad convinced me to move to Augusta, Georgia, with the family, and take a job with the mental health hospital that would allow me to, it would they're going to pay for my future schooling and also pay my loans. And I never used that, educational benefit. But I was already at the psychiatric hospital at that time. Like I took the job to get the financial assistance. And then one thing led to another. I kept going back, to school. I got my DNP, and then I was practicing in Virginia, and then started posting on TikTok. It took off, and then I'm here today. And then yes, about ADHD. I do have ADHD, and I was diagnosed when I was 25 or 26. I want to say 25. I'm 25, I think. And I talk about that in my book, which was an Amazon bestseller. I should have the book right here. It would be smart to just show it to y'all, but I don't have it right here, right now. But yeah, my book, You Already Won. I talk about my journey with ADHD. And the funny thing, Sierra, I'll tell you this. The funny thing is that when I was writing the book, I don't know if I told people this before, but as I was writing my book, right, I wrote the whole book, right, all the chapters. And before I submitted it to the editor to get it edited, right, and then put the manuscript together, the part about where I talked about my own ADHD was the only part that I thought about taking out, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to put that out there, because nobody was talking about ADHD online. So I was like, do I want to expose myself, or like, like my biggest fear, I'll tell you right now, Sierra, since you asked a good question, my biggest fear, this is my biggest fear, right? My biggest fear is that I thought that in the back of my head, one day I might become successful, right? I didn't know that like 2 million followers was possible, but I thought in my head, one day I might become successful, and people would say that you're only successful because you took ADHD medication in college. Like that's what I thought. I thought people were gonna say, oh, the only reason why you're successful is because you were taking like Adderall or Ritalin in college, and that's why you're successful, because you have an unfair advantage. That's what I actually thought. True story. That's what I thought. And that was like hold me back a little bit. But I thought about it, talked to friends, and I was like, F it. No, I want to put this out there, like this is my story. And by putting that out in the book, once I started posting videos online, I had no shame, so like that was my thing that I was worried about the most. And I put it in my book. I'm telling y'all right here. So now nothing really scares me. Like I post, I do my dance, I do my skits. I'm just out here laughing and enjoying life, because like that big fear is gone. So I'm just chilling at this point. Sandra, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Stormy, thank you so much. I really appreciate you all. Name of the book is You Already Won. Judy, thank you so much. I put my heart and soul and both elbows into the book. So hopefully you all could enjoy. And Sierra, I appreciate you. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. Ben, good question right here. Do you think the pandemic has exacerbated people's existing mental issues, or if it has brought mental health issues to light that people ignored? I think both, Ben, right? I think, the pandemic, like the isolation that came about from it, the healthy fear of COVID, right? COVID's a beast, so to be somewhat fearful of it is understandable, right? So people were living in fear. People were, having to isolate themselves, not being able to connect with family members and friends. That was difficult. Relationships were being destroyed. So these things could make existing mental health issues worse. I feel like it also brought things to light, right? And we talk a lot about ADHD on here, and for people who don't get diagnosed in childhood, a lot of times, if you don't get diagnosed as a kid, the next time that you'll have a chance to be diagnosed, not evidence-based information, but from what I've seen, the next time you'll have a good chance to get diagnosed is when you come across like a stressor, right? Something that's stressing you out to the point where you have significant impairment, right? So a lot of people will get diagnosed with ADHD in grad school, because now you have to do your schoolwork to get your master's or your doctorate, or even college, right? Undergrad, you have to do all this schoolwork, but then you're an adult and you're trying to manage like bills and finances and your parents and a relationship. And it's hard to juggle all that with ADHD. So then that might bring the ADHD to light, right? Or maybe for women after they have a baby and you have a big life change, you have to adjust to that. And then you're flustered, right? And this is not even taking into account like the hormonal differences that come from having a baby, right? And how that affects ADHD, because it does. But just having a baby, that's a big life event, right? So that's a stressor. You know, a baby's a blessing, but it's a stressor. You have to adjust, and that could, make you aware of the fact that, okay, there's something going on here, and then you chalk it up to ADHD. So I think, yeah, the pandemic has brought a lot of things to light. Uh, in my opinion, is it hard to get diagnosed with ADHD as an adult? It's a good question, Sandra. Hmm, that's tough. I think it might be hard to get diagnosed in general, but I think for an adult, you could make an argument that it's harder because you don't have like your parents taking you in and helping you out. As an adult, technically you're responsible for yourself, and you have to take care of all these things on your own. So it can be difficult. I mean, even to book the appointment, right? You have to remember to show up. So I think for an adult, it can be difficult. Um, Trina says, I vote for a Dr. Kojo and a Dr. Sasha Hamdani via collab. Ah, that's funny. Um, that's why I collab with her a week or two ago here on Facebook. She's a good friend of mine. She's a wonderful person. I mean, even before her being a doctor, she's a wonderful person. Great vibes. I actually got to meet her like in person. Went to her house, beautiful family, great kids. I'm, just a wonderful person. So Dr. Sasha, she's amazing. And she posts a lot of ADHD content that's very validating as well. So I'm happy to call her a friend. Um, Watching your videos validate my experiences. I grew up with undiagnosed ADHD and dyslexia. This led to anxiety and depression as a young adult. I'm not realizing that I am strong and have many coping skills. Stacy, I like that. I like that. You're realizing that you're capable, and with the right support, you can just take off. Uh, Love over fear. Alexis, I like that. Miranda, I appreciate you. That's dope. And it's like I never met these people before. That's a crazy thing about the internet. I really appreciate you. Let me see. Intention. What's the year saying? Intention means a person may have difficulty. Right. Yeah, looks about right. I'm reading it super fast. But yeah, the point is everybody's different. And like you don't have to be hyperactive to have ADHD. You know, Laura, I appreciate that. I have BPD as well as GAD and PTSD. My family treated me horribly, and I grew up in no support community. I'm grateful you speak about BPD, aka the Bipolar Express. Laura, I'm happy to help. And I mean, it took me a minute to learn. Like I remember being in school, and like I used to ask so many questions. Like I remember being in school, and shout out to Augusta University. And for putting me here. The education I received at Augusta University, the #1 DNP program in the nation. I'm proud to be an alumni of Augusta University. Shout out to all the fantastic nurses, nurse practitioners, psychiatrists who took me under their wing and taught me the patients, that I got to meet during my training. Very helpful. And just going back to that, like I remember being at the I remember being at the hospital, and trying to ask, my preceptor. I'm asking the psychiatrist. I'm like, "What's the difference between bipolar 1 and bipolar 2? I don't get it. Like, why is there a bipolar 2, and then why is there a bipolar 1? Like it was confusing to me. So being able to, and I hope I explain things well, but being able to like explain like that to you in like a 7-second clip over a dance, I think that's pretty cool. Maybe if somebody was dancing, to explain it to me, maybe it would have stuck a little bit, easier. And let me see, Poet, you become such an integral part of my mental health care in between my regular appointments. Wow, that means a lot to me. I appreciate you. My entire family deals with mental illness in one form or another. My mom and myself suffer from depression, have anxiety, PTSD, bouts of paranoia. Another family has depression, anxiety, PTSD, ADHD. I'm assuming PMDD, BPD, and suffer from auditory and visual hallucinations, but non-meds, insomnia, and dissociation disorder. having you to listen to and have the extra support for those aha moments. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Um, get to some more uh, the questions, for people. The first video I watched was social anxiety, and I've related to every video ever since. Thank you for helping me understand that my mental health care is very important. Calissa, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Sandra, living a lot of love. I really, really appreciate you. Um, Amber says, well, Amber, you didn't miss the live and you're here. So I love the show goes to you. Yee! I appreciate that. Um, Nicole, what question? You hear a lot about ADHD being overdiagnosed. I have been diagnosed with a few different mental health disorders that may or may not be accurate. The main being anxiety and PTSD. Could ADHD and P could ADHD or PTSD show the same symptoms as bipolar? So the good news right here is the fact that like you, like Nicole, or whoever is wondering what the answer to this question is, the good news is that you don't have to be your own doctor, right? And there's people who are trained to know the nuances of all this stuff, so that you should rest easy knowing that the final call, like when you go to a professional, like they'll take care of it. With that being said, could ADHD or PTSD show the same symptoms of bipolar? So the reason why it's so important to get like a full psychiatric evaluation from a professional that you talk to them for like 45 minutes or an hour or however long, is that they can ask you all these questions, have questionnaires and see what cluster symptoms come up and what condition it most aligns with, right? But you can pick one symptom out of a certain condition and you can see that symptom in another condition, right? So, for example, between ADHD and bipolar disorder, right, you have impulsivity with ADHD, right? A lot of the times you see that. You can see the same thing in bipolar disorder, right? But usually this is within the context of like a manic episode, right? Mania. That's what characterizes bipolar disorder, mania or hypomania in the case of bipolar too. So the good thing is you don't have to know the difference between all these things, but there are some overlapping symptoms, right? Impulsivity you can see in ADHD and bipolar disorder, PTSD, right? You can have hypervigilance, and then in bipolar disorder, you could have a manic episode and you could be paranoid and grandiose. So depending on how it presents, symptoms may overlap. But the best way to really know what is like when you go in and you sit in front of the provider and then they break it down to you, right? But they're asking you questions, so that's why it's so important to get that evaluation. And you want to be able to know that whatever you think you have, right? We talk about self-diagnosing. Whatever you think you have, they actually have it when it's confirmed. um, Nicole, I appreciate you, and I hope you get that proper diagnosis, and I'm rooting for you. Uh, hey, shout out to Nikki. Being from Augusta myself, and you attending Augusta University brings joy to me. That's awesome. So let me see. Um, well, so I was talking about a psychiatric evaluation. So this is where you go and you talk to a psychiatric provider, normally a psychiatrist, but also a psychiatric nurse practitioner or a psychiatric physician assistant, and they'll ask you questions about your mood. They'll ask you questions about your childhood. It's important, right? You're looking for trauma, or looking for like when you get to classes, or looking for inattention, hyperactivity, impulsivity. Maybe you had ADHD and it's undiagnosed. I'm going to ask you about your current medications, what you've taken before in the past. Did it work? Did it not work? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Of course, we'll ask about suicidal and homicidal ideation. Ask to see if you're hearing things, seeing things, right? Hallucinations, feeling things. You can have tactile hallucinations. They're gonna ask about what's stressing you out. Are you sleeping at night? You sleeping good? You eating good? You have any mood swings, any racing thoughts? Looking for anxiety, looking for depression, looking for all these common mental health conditions. There's so many scales and questionnaires and things that we have to help us get to a diagnosis. So it's not as scary as people think it is. But I was trying, like, tell the patient beforehand, like, all right, this is what we're gonna do, so that way they're not like, you know, uh, like shocked or concerned or scared to follow through the interview. We have dissociative identity disorder. We to love to see more about it. Yeah, so DID. I don't think I posted too much about DID on my channel, but from what I know about DID is not as common as is portrayed in the media. From what I know, but a lot of times, like, there's like underlying trauma that could be, where the dissociation comes from, and the different, versions and personalities that come to protect like the other personalities. But it's DID is so interesting because you see it all the time in the media, but like it's like I've rarely seen it in like actual practice. I think I've only seen it once, and that was like when I was a student. Um, yes, Becky. I don't know if you've been following, but I talk a lot about eating disorders, and I so Hmm. I'm not gonna be able to get to all the questions because they come in so fast, but I'm happy I got to catch this, Becky. So here's the thing with eating disorders, right? Eating disorders, disordered eating. It's important to bring awareness to it, and if if you don't know about eating disorders, you don't know how like dangerous they can be. And I here on Facebook, the people who follow me, right? It's more like I would argue that it's more adults following me on Facebook. On TikTok, I would argue that the majority of my 2 million followers are probably between 13 and 21. I'm just guessing, right? I don't know for a fact, but I would argue that those are the age ranges, right? And with that demographic that's so impressionable, you have to be very, very intentional and careful about certain topics, and eating disorders is one of those. And it's funny because TikTok released like new guidelines today. I don't know if it's today, but I saw the video today where they're cracking down on certain things. And one of the things that they're going to be cracking down on is content around disordered eating and eating disorders. And they don't want people to like glorify it or sensationalize it or say, "Oh, I have an eating disorder." Like if you have it, that's what I'm here for, to bring awareness to it and talk about how we can help people have a better relationship with their body, how they can have a better relationship with food, how they can have, how you would go about finding a therapist, a doctor, a psychiatrist, a nurse practitioner who can help you out with these issues. But for me, as a educator, right, and if I call myself the Hollywood mental health expert, it's about letting people know that eating disorders are a real thing. And I post about it in like a lighthearted way, and I'm dancing and all this stuff, but they can be very dangerous. You can have electrolyte imbalances that come from it, and people's physical health is affected by eating disorders, and you have to be very, very careful when you talk about it. And even now, as I'm talking about it, I'm trying to pick my words carefully because you never want to like have it like taken the wrong way, And I know that, all these platforms, like they've given me the blue check, they verified me. So, they're saying that Kojo is a reputable source of information. So I want to post more about eating disorders. And it's funny because I actually think that my most viewed video of all time online is about eating disorders. I think. Let me check on Facebook what's pinned. It really might be. Yeah, I was right. My most viewed video, eating disorder awareness, potential signs of eating disorders that aren't talked about enough. Yeah, 14.1 million views on TikTok, right? So that's my goal, to show people what are some potential signs of eating disorders that aren't talked about enough, right? And I think just by bringing awareness to that is helpful because look, 14 million people watched that on TikTok, or it was viewed 14 million times, right? So somebody identifies with it, and sometimes people don't realize that that's what's going on. So it's important to say, hey, this is something that is treatable. Like we have people who want to help you out, and there's so many people who have bounced back from eating disorders, anorexia, bulimia, purging, binge eating. People have bounced back from that, and now they're living their lives as advocates, and they're helping to advocate for other people, and they're telling them. I like when people have like lived experience and then they're telling you what they did, right? They're saying, "Hey, this is how I felt about this, and that. I was hiding food around family. I was wearing like baggy clothes or whatever they were going through. I was going to the bathroom after I was eating, and the shame, the embarrassment. Maybe I was having hair loss from the eating disorder in my teeth, all this stuff. When you put that out there and you see somebody who's gone through that, right? And then they're telling you their story, and they're like living like their truth, and they're like thriving. Becky, what that's gonna do for you is it's gonna make you feel so much more seen. It's gonna make you feel like you have a voice. So that's my goal when it comes to something like eating disorders. But I take it as a challenge, right? How am I gonna put out this information while like staying within the guidelines? And I don't mind the guidelines because like you gotta protect the youth, and misinformation is the worst. Is the worst of all things. Sierra, I appreciate that. I want the support, but I gotta make sure I stay within the guidelines. I don't want to, say the wrong thing. That would suck. That would really suck. And let me see. What if it doesn't fit the criteria for you? I mean, sometimes people don't fit into the criteria for a specific thing, right? But if you're seeing behaviors that could be problematic, it could be good to look at it from like a preemptive perspective, and try and hop on that before before it turns into like a full blown disorder. Um, oh, right here, ADs now under the. I think somebody asked this question already, but ADD is what they used to call ADHD, right? Back in the day, um, people would refer to the inattentive side of ADHD and say ADD. People still say ADD nowadays, and I get it. I know what they mean when they say ADD. Um, Bill Miller, thank you, kind sir. Bill, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Oh, it's a good question right here. I like this. What is your favorite mental health topic to study and discuss? I worked with Alzheimer's, and it is sad to watch, but fascinating to study. That's interesting. I remember when I was in school, you know, um, it was fascinating to learn about Alzheimer's and dementia, and you know, um, especially frontotemporal dementia, and like sometimes the personality and mood changes that come with it. I thought that was fascinating. But for me, to answer your question, you all would probably think that it's ADHD. That's probably what y'all would guess. But my favorite topic to discuss and study um, is actually schizophrenia. For whatever reason, like I'm fascinated by it. Schizophrenia, thought disorders in general, schizoaffective disorder. I'm just fascinated by schizophrenia, and but keep in mind, you have to figure out my background. I worked at a psychiatric facility, inpatient hospital for years, right? And before I was doing social media, I was doing forensic psychiatry at the state hospital in Virginia. So what populations was I seeing the most of? I seen a lot of schizophrenia, schizoaffective, bipolar disorder with psychotic features. So that the thought disorder component was in there a lot, and yeah, I was fascinated by it, and I even have a book somewhere. I got all kinds of psych books in my house, not in this room, probably in my other room, but I have so many books. You know, the DSM, right, and then different. Like my camera's propped up on the psychotherapy book right now, but I have a book dedicated to Clozaril, which is a medication for schizophrenia. I think it's the best medication for people with schizophrenia. It's underutilized in the United States for whatever reason. But I mean, you have to get your blood drawn frequently. You have to check the blood count. It can make you constipated, so it can make life uncomfortable. But Clozaril is one of the medications that has been shown to actually really reduce the suicide risk. So it's a life changing medication. I have a whole book dedicated to Clozaril. I forget who the author is, but I don't know. Like I'm a nerd. Like I used to love back in Virginia, like I would after I posted my TikToks, right, in my free time on lunch break, I would post TikToks and then I would watch some funny videos, and then before I would go into the meetings with the patients, I would read this book on Clozaril, right, and I would learn how to prescribe this medication, and I would learn like the indications for it and things like that. That was like my little thing that I thought was interesting, but the average person doesn't want to learn about that, so I probably wouldn't bore y'all with that. Uh, my videos on Jennifer. My son has severe anxiety. Videos on childhood mental struggles would be helpful to educate people on the difference. Jennifer, it's like you're reading my mind. Like it's like you were following me all day today, because that's why I'm looking to get into that, right? And you may have seen the skits where I was a dad and then I was talking to the son. A lot of kids, are feel like they're in toxic households. I know because I see the DMs. So I'm not saying that you're a toxic parent, Mrs. Luis. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that sometimes kids feel misunderstood. So, but clearly you're advocating for your son just by leaving this comment. So I would definitely be making more videos for the kids. And there's videos for the kids are videos for the parents, right? Because the parents see what I'm trying to tell the kids. So it's for everybody. It's for the whole family. It's for the whole family. This right here is something that I have not done enough of on social media. Any tips for grief? I lost my form. Oh, Jade, very sorry to very sorry to hear that. Very sorry to hear that. I for whatever reason, I don't think I posted that much about grief, which is odd. And this pandemic stage where there's been a lot of grief and loss, but it's important to talk about it, right? Because you know to grieve is normal, right? Like if you have a significant loss, you will grieve, right? You might feel hopeless and then you're struggling, but we wouldn't want that feeling of hopelessness to like remain. At some point we want you to be hopeful or at least curious about the future, to want to hang around and stick around for a little bit longer. So I'm very sorry to hear that, and I will be posting more about grief, but I would say the tips for grief, I would say don't think of your sadness as a bad thing, right? Don't think of that sadness as like a bad thing. You can lean into it. Like you can be sad but still hopeful. You know what I'm talking about? That sounds like I was talking to a friend. The Atlanta's coming up. You could be you could be sad but still hopeful, right? And um, when you're sad or like you're grieving somebody, sometimes like, and I'm thinking back to people that I've lost. Sometimes I want to be sad, right? Like I'm happy and all this stuff and dancing on the line. But sometimes if I'm thinking about a friend that I've lost, I want to be sad in that moment because it shows that like I care about that person, So I'm sad in that moment and like I think about them and you might cry, but if you can have like on the flip side, like the hope for the future, whatever keeps you going, whatever makes you curious enough to hang around to stay, then that would be very important. So Mrs. J, hopefully you're still on the stream. Hopefully you heard this. But yeah. And let me see. Biden is Morphe. I've talked about that. I've talked about that as well on TikTok and on here. And on here. Personal goals help. I agree. Let me see. Signs symptoms of 11-year-old girl with ADHD. So, Sarah, I don't think there's anything such as like, there's no textbook, at least to my knowledge, there's no textbook definition of what ADHD will look like for a girl who is 11 years old, right? But when I post about ADHD in women and ADHD in teenage girls or a fifth grader or a sixth grader, I post about the fact that they might fall through the cracks, right? Like girls tend to be more so like inattentive and shy and like distracted and quietly struggling. So asking questions, to ask your daughter like, hey, like what issues are you having? Are you taking a long time to get things done? Do you have a hard time focusing, or maybe she's hyperactive, impulsive. Like, are you interrupting people? But whatever you think, if you suspect that your daughter has it, this is what if I had a daughter that was 11, this is what I would do. And it's not medical advice. This is what I would do if I had a daughter who was 11. I would, take note of all the things that I think that she's doing that appears to be consistent with ADHD, right? And fortunately, Ms. Evans, you're in a good position because you already suspect something. So even if she doesn't have it and you go get her checked out, like if she has something, we can hop on top. We can hop on that, right? And on top of that, you have Dr. Kojo here on live stream. So like, I'm not gonna lead you the wrong way. So take note of all the symptoms that you think she's exhibiting, right? And like literally, like write it down or take the notes app on your phone. Write down whatever you think that she's going through, right? And put it in your phone, put it in your back pocket. Go to the school and then talk to talk to her teachers and see how she's doing in class, blah blah blah, this and the third, and ask the teacher like, hey, like how's she doing in school? Like what is the teacher's description of how she's doing? And if you have some symptoms of ADHD that line up with what the teacher is saying, then you take it to your provider, and then let the professional ask your daughter some questions, and that's how you would arrive at a diagnosis if that is what in fact it is, right? Because like we know, these symptoms should be present before the age of 12, even though some people don't get diagnosed until later. But at the same time, with ADHD, like we want to see the impairment in like at least two settings, right? It can't just be at home, right? Like if your daughter goes to school and she's a rock star, she plays first violin and she's like the captain of the soccer team, and she has straight A's and she never complains about inattention, and she never complains about being hyperactive, and then all of a sudden she comes home, she can't focus, she can't do anything. Then we're like, oh, is this really ADHD? Like you want to see the impairment in more than one setting, So hopefully that helps out. I got hair in my mouth. I don't know what's going on there. Let me see. How you feel about? I've talked about this before. I'm not a big fan of self-medicating with anything that you don't talk to your doctor or provider about, for a couple of reasons. Because like if your doctor's co-signed it, then your doctor's co-signed it. It's coming from a professional. And the second reason is that I can't give medical advice, right? But the thing that I do say about marijuana is that I don't think you want to say that anything is bad or anything like good. You have to say like, how does it help you? Like, what is it going to do? And I posted a video here on Facebook where I was talking about how marijuana can increase the risk of psychosis, and how it can induce psychosis for people, and for people who have schizophrenia in their family, or if you have a long history of bipolar disorder, you might want to be careful with something like cannabis. And so I just posted it as an educational point, but I didn't post it to say people should stop smoking, right? But I just posted it as like an educational point that hopefully put people on game so that they can be aware of these things. But I can see a place for where marijuana is used for mental health. But as of right now, it's like 20 different strains, and then like who's growing it? How can you verify that this is what it is? Is it laced? So like if we're able to regulate it and like you can prescribe it, like I think we should look into everything. But as it stands right now, like it's really hard, like to, I can't and I won't and I don't, like prescribe like a sativa to a patient. Like you can't do that. I mean, maybe people do that. I don't do that because I have to, I gotta go off of evidence-based practice. I'm like, you can see Emily's linked. Emily, what's up? What's up? Sierra, thank you so much for coming on the stream. I appreciate you. But yeah, I don't want people to feel like I was not judging people for smoking. I was just presenting the facts. But I have a lot of patients who smoke. They, well, I don't have a lot of patients because I've even cut down on patients in general. But I've had patients before in the past who have smoked and told me that they're not going to quit, and they found a way to use it. And I'm not, as long as you're getting the desired result, I'm here to help you out. Claire, your videos have helped remind me and help me recognize a lot of my behaviors. I was diagnosed as a kid and just put on ton of meds, but never given understanding and tools to manage it by myself. Thank you for what you do, Claire. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. And I feel like this is a good way to probably and end the stream. We've gone well over an hour. I keep saying an hour, but I don't know if I'll ever do an hour stream because like sometimes if I'm with it, I can't just stop, right? Like I feel like I got more to say, and I just gotta keep talking. So, but yeah, Claire, it's a good way to end this. Claire Wilson, yeah, and I think I'm not saying that whoever I'm nothing against the doctors that you had as a kid, but I can see how from a professional's perspective, I can see how you know you talk to the patient, okay, ADHD, you put in medication, all right, cool. You send them home, hey, take it in the morning, make sure you eat a good breakfast and make sure you drink and stay hydrated and make sure that you let me know if you having a hard time sleeping at night and then you go about your way. But sometimes the understanding is not there because you didn't get like a full in-depth explanation. So I think that's the cool thing about what we get to do here. Not only me, but just any mental health specialist on this app. Whether it be Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. There's a lot of us who are doing this type of thing. And I'm blessed to be one of the people that I get to do this. I'm just super super excited that I feel like I've been chosen, like I've won the lottery in a sense. So I'm happy that y'all have accepted me, and yeah, this project is going to be great. Thank you all for the feedback. I hope that the questions, the Q&A at the end was helpful for y'all. And yeah, I'll do this again on Instagram. I'll do this also on TikTok too, and take these comments. And this project that I'm putting out is going to be very exciting. I cannot wait for y'all to see it. Oh, Mickey Ficky. Sheesh. I cannot wait for y'all to see it. I got the photo shoot tomorrow somewhere in Beverly Hills. Yeah, so we're working, and this thing is exciting, and I'm just grateful that y'all continue to support me and continue to follow me. And I ask that you all continue to interact with me. Let me know what y'all want to see in the comments. Let me know what's working, what's not working. We're gonna keep moving forward, and the content is gonna get better because that's the only way to go from here. So once again, thank you so much, Emily. I appreciate you, Amy, Julia, Bobby. I appreciate you, Kayla. Kayla, thank you for buying the book. Kayla, thank you so much. Kayla, I appreciate you. And keep in mind, if you missed the stream, you can go back and watch it. It's gonna. I don't take the stream anywhere. It's gonna be there. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. So the book is called "You Already Won" on Amazon. That's my book, my first book. Second book is coming out December. But yeah, so thank you so much, y'all. And I will see you all tomorrow for the final show of the week, and then we'll do it all over again next week. So y'all be safe and y'all take care.